Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Eva's House of Spirit. For those of you who are newer to this channel, I'm Eva. Welcome back as well to my 13 Days of Samhain series. Do you like my witchy hat, first of all? I wore it just for you. Today's topic for day 10 is going to be the question of attire. It's obvious that there are endless possibilities in regard to what to wear on October 31st. A good many of us will probably do one or both of two main things. And those things happen to be either dressing up in ritual attire and or dressing up in costume, as is more of a Halloween tradition. That being the case, first I want to talk a little bit about ritual attire. Why people might reserve a certain state of dress specifically for magical workings or the observance of holy times. Some people feel that, like any other special occasion, it makes sense to them to make choices in regard to what to wear in relation to the fact that it is a special day. Just as you would dress up for maybe a wedding or a baby shower or like a certain event. Certain events in life you dress in a particular way for. Even honestly for funerals, you're not going to wear the same stuff you'd wear, on any given day. These are special occasions where people will dress nicely to sort of reflect that it's important to them. They feel that it's respectful to sort of rise to the occasion and wear something a little fancier. And then there are others as well who work skyclad, where that's their attire choice, that's their ritual garb, so to speak. I would venture to guess that the reason why some see wearing nothing at all as ritual attire is that it's probably one of the most natural states you could be in. It's you with no facade, it's you in truth. And it's how you came into the world, it's how you're going to go out of the world, essentially. However, that as well, while it is something that some do, it's not for everyone. Some people don't feel comfortable with that. Some people just don't find it practical. Suffice it to say, there are choices, in terms of ritual attire that some people may make. Their reasons are their own. I feel that whether or not you choose to wear ritual attire for your Asbats, for your Sabbats, for your whatever you happen to do, it should be your own choice. It should be something that you do because it really has meaning for you. I think when it comes to beliefs, in any respect, your beliefs should be yours because you know why you believe them. They make sense to you. They resonate with you. You do you, okay? Speaking of which, personally, I don't reserve particular attire for magical workings or, the observance of what I deem to be holy days. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or that nobody should dress in, ritual attire or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I just happen to have my own reasons. As I stated, that I personally feel everyone should have their own reasons for doing whatever they happen to do in terms of ritual attire. In my case, I just sort of see magic as being everywhere, in everything, every day, every moment, So I guess I sort of prefer to come as I am because it just doesn't make sense to me to have something particular to wear at those times. Not saying that my magic and my spirituality aren't important to me. I just don't feel that personally it makes sense for me to have a certain thing to put on. That aside, I have always loved wearing Halloween costumes. I've had Halloween costumes that were purely fun, you know, and then I've had some that were, they had some more deeper meaning and so on and so forth for me. And I'll get into that in a minute. I do also want to mention, by the way, something that I find funny enough. The first Halloween costume I ever remember wearing was a witch costume. I was 5, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was standing on a chair, and my sister was getting me ready to go to school. She was painting my face green with like grease paint and stuff. It was really cute. But isn't it kind of funny how that's sort of like manifested, you know? um, I just find that interesting. Thought I'd share that with you. But anyhow, so to the topic of costumes. I think overall, there are 3 potential approaches to costume, to dressing up in costume. Some people might see costumes as pure fun, just whatevs, whatever, anything goes. Some people might see costumes as sort of delineating, like almost like pushing boundaries and delineating what they are and aren't. Like some people approach dressing up in costume in the sense of, the whole point of it to them is to dress as they are not, to dress in ways that do not represent who and what they are. So they will usually choose things that are like totally off the deep end, really scary, gory, crazy, whatever. However, I do also want to bring forth that there is a third option here. This one is not as common, not saying no one's ever thought of this before, but there is also the option to approach dressing up in Halloween costumes similarly to the concept of like assuming the God form. Instead of approaching costumes as something that is just fun or that is a delineation between what we are and are not, costumes can be used as an avenue of manifestation. I've done this a couple of times. That's what I meant by some of my costumes have been something a little more. It is possible to dress up, to assume certain roles, to call forth the energy of certain character, of a certain being or a certain kind of being, certain state of being that you wish to bring into your life. Dress as you see yourself being. This is very much in line with the idea of visualizations. Many times when practitioners utilize visualization, you will hear the advice, don't focus on the want of what you're seeking. Focus on the thing you want as though it were the case now, as though you have it already. And a lot of practitioners find a great deal of success in utilizing visualization that way. So costumes can sort of be applied in much the same manner. Instead of being like, I want to be prosperous, well, maybe you could dress up as, let's say, a millionaire. Or if you wanted to be like famous or very well known, maybe you could dress up, for example, as an actor, a rock star, a movie star, whatever kind of star or famous person that you kind of would like to be. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't act in accord with your workings. It's not like you can just kind of sit on the couch, do nothing else in your life, and then do one spell and think it's going to work. You kind of have to be invested, I think, in your magic. Just a side note I wanted to throw in there. But, now that I've expressed this idea of the possibility of assuming particular roles, I do also want to say they don't have to be so literal either. For example, there was a year that I chose to dress up as the Sun tarot card. It was really cute. I actually had like this big, I made the costume, it was really cute. It was like the big like card, and I was like wearing it, and it had like the cutout face where the sun face was, you know, the Rider-Waite sun tarot card. And it was a big hit, obviously, but I did that because I was assuming the role, the energy, the essence of the Sun tarot card. It's very prosperous, very blessed, very lucky, very, you know, anything associated with that solar energy. I was calling that into my life. And I found that it worked, by the way. But anyway, I'm kind of going off on an aside. I could have focused on many specific things that I wanted and tried to narrow it down to one thing in specific and dressed in one specific way. But I chose instead to not be so literal and not be so narrowed in my focus. I chose instead to do the Sun Tarot card because that kind of opened up the focus of my work to include like all manner of blessings. The Sun Tarot card, it kind of like captures the energy of lots of good stuff in many different ways. Now, that said, you might be like, well, how do I, you know, utilize my costume to manifest something besides just like putting it on for a day and sort of pretending to be that thing? Well, first of all, I do think it matters to know what it is that you want to bring into your life. Decide what aspect of your life or aspects of your life, or if there's just like I did with the Sun Tarot card, are there just general, is there like a general sort of energy that you'd like to bring in? And then I would say choose a costume. Get a clear idea of what costume would really speak to you of what it is you're seeking. It has to really feel to you, that character, like what it is that you're seeking to bring in. If it doesn't feel like anything to you, if it doesn't speak to you of what you're looking for, I don't think it's going to have the same effect necessarily. So yeah, you should know what you want to bring in. You should know what character really captures that thing that you want to bring in. Now, before you do anything else, you know, when you gather your costume, once you have it all together, you might want to cleanse it once you brought it home from the store, or once you've made it, you know, I mean, the materials, the outfits, whatever, these things that you're using in this costume, whatever costume it may be, they may have come into contact with various people before they made their way to you. Or even if you've owned, let's say, certain clothing that you may utilize in your costume, day to day, there might have been days where you had not so great days, and maybe those items may have gathered some unintentional, negative, or frustrated, or whatever energies. You might want to cleanse your costume before this work, okay? So, okay, you could pass it through incense. You could wash it, you know, throw a little bit of salt, not a lot, maybe like a quarter cup of salt in your wash water with the costume, with your soap and everything else, and just wash it while, you know, praying over it, whatever. Or you could run the costume through incense, or sprinkle it with maybe like particular blessed water or something like that. You know, there are many ways you can go about blessing or consecrating a thing, in this case a costume. So then I would say, right before you dress up, you might want to do whatever it is that you generally do in preparation for your magical workings. If, for example, you ritually bathe, you know, before you do magical work, you may want to set aside time to take a significant bath. If you don't particularly do anything before your workings, not everybody does, you may want to just set aside a few moments to really be by yourself, to focus on what it is you intend to do. You may want to say a few words to yourself, a few affirmations, or a few prayers, or whatever it is that you feel really brings your focus into the objective at hand, the thing that you're going to do. And then you would dress up in your costume mindfully. As you put on maybe each piece, you might be telling yourself, like, okay, for example, with this, cape, this symbolizes blah, 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 or with this hat, I become so and so. And you just really start building up the feeling of becoming this character. And I would say try to get into character as much as you're able to, kind of sort of like method actors do, become that character, really be that character. Once you're all like in garb, you might want to say a few words to sort of seal the intention. Some people, for example, might say something like, so mote it be. Some people might say, I don't know, amen. Some people might say any number of things, as my will, so it is, or whatever it is that you happen to say. But yeah, you might want to say something to sort of seal it in. And then you're going to go through your night, and you're going to be this character, and you're going to feel like this character. Really let yourself experience the world as this character, this role, this thing that you have called up, And then when the night is over, and it's time to take off your costume, once again, you're going to be mindful as you remove, each thing. But now that you've taken it off, lay your hands on it and say, this character yet remains. It is assumed into myself in the astral. And then you would again maybe say some sort of words of finalization. And that's how I would, I guess, say, you might want to try doing something along those lines. But yeah, I just thought I would suggest that to you. And now it's time for our question of the day. The question of the day happens to be, for the 31st, will you be dressing in ritual garb? Or will you be dressing in costume? Or will you be doing a little bit of both? I would love to hear about that. For your journaling exercise, I invite you to plan your costume. Put some like real thought and intention. Have some, maybe like something in mind. What you want to manifest in your life. Assuming, of course, that you want to approach things the way that I'm suggesting. I'm assuming that you might want to try this. Have like an idea of what you want to sort of call into your life. Come up with what sort of a costume would really speak that to your psyche, to yourself on a deeper level. Plan how you would put that together, maybe you want to write down your words of intention and all those things that you want to say, and your sealing words or phrases or whatever. Plan out your whole thing if you want to try this. But regardless, whatever you wear for the 31st, it should be something that really speaks to your soul, that really means something to you, that you feel comfortable in, whatever. Go where you're led, do what feels right for you to do. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, don't forget to go check out your witchy link of the day in the description below. And yeah, until tomorrow, until day 11, which is tomorrow, I'm going to wish you all blessed be and Ashe. You have an excellent night. And bye-bye for now.